With the introduction of custom alert policies in Oracle Data Safe, you now have a highly flexible and customizable way to monitor specific database activities of interest. Custom alert policies empower organizations to proactively identify and mitigate risks before they escalate. Now let's explore the potential of custom alert policies feature through a typical use case. Consider a scenario where, as an administrator, you're tasked to protect the HR application schema which hosts sensitive information for a HR application. Apart from securing your application to talk to the database in a secure way, one of the most common control you want to enforce is to make sure the privileged users or administrators don't get access to the sensitive employee information in the application schema. Another important control you want to enforce is to make sure the application accounts are used only by the application process and their credentials are not misused to access the application data. And yet another safeguard measure is monitoring operations like data pump, which can potentially be abused by malicious users to exfiltrate sensitive application data. As an administrator, say you choose Database Vault to enforce some of these controls in the database, and database auditing to monitor any violation attempts or occurrences. It's quite crucial that as an administrator, you are alerted and notified proactively if any of these events do happen so that you can take appropriate measures. The custom alert policy feature proves invaluable here. Let's explore in detail how you may consider configuring these proactive measures and alert proactively of such incidents. To block application data access from privileged users and administrators, you have configured Database Vault Realm to protect all the objects in Employee Search Prod application schema. And only Employee Search Prod schema owner is authorized to access the Realm objects. Any violation of the Realm access is audited by Unified Audit Policy. With this protection in place, the application accessing the database with application service account is authorized to access all the objects within the schema. However, privileged users like sys or database administrator, though they can perform their normal administrative task, they cannot view the application data in Employee Search Prod schema, and their access attempts raises a Realm violation which is audited and the event recorded in Unified Audit Trail. With DataSafe configured to read the audits from the database, the audited Realm violation is collected by DataSafe, and an alert rule in custom alert policy can trigger security alert on the same. Now here is the Database Vault Realm configured to protect all the objects in Employee Search Prod application schema, and here is the audit policy configured to audit Realm violations. To prevent the misuse of Employee Search Prod application service account credentials, you have configured the Database Vault command rule to allow connect command to be executed from only authorized sources or entry points for the user. Unified Audit Policy is also created to track all top-level actions of anyone connecting to the database server directly, and this will help track login events also. With this protection in place, the database administrator accessing the database directly with the credentials of service account will not be allowed to log in. The login connection attempt will fail, and this failed login event will be audited and recorded in the Unified Audit Trail. With DataSafe configured to read the audits from the database, the logon audit event that failed due to the command rule violation is collected by DataSafe, and an alert rule in custom alert policy can trigger security alert on the same. Here is the Database Vault command rule for connect, and it is enforced such that Employee Search Prod user can only access from the trusted application path that's defined here. You also have this audit policy to monitor any direct database login attempts, which will record login failure if Employee Search Prod user attempts to access the database directly, as it violates the Database Vault command rule configured. Now the third security control is to monitor potential data exfiltration attempts. As an administrator, you have authorized data pump user to perform Oracle data pump operations on Employee Search Prod application schema in Database Vault enabled instance. To detect any malicious attempt to exfiltrate sensitive application data, Unified audit policy is created to track the export activity. With this protection in place, data pump user export operation event using data pump is recorded in Unified Audit Trail. This will be collected by DataSafe, and an alert rule in custom alert policy can trigger security alert to bring it to the attention of security administrator. Here is the authorization of data pump to data pump user in database vault enabled instance and the audit policy to monitor data pump export actions. With these security controls in place, now let's create a custom alert policy in DataSafe from these audited events that show up in audit reports. Here is a sample audit record resulting from data pump operation that was audited. From the convenience of audit reports, you can create custom alert policy. This experience of using it from the audit reports helps you get access to the event attributes and their values that you can use in creating conditions. And of course, you can modify them with Scheme Builder too. So you have various ways to make your experience of creating conditions very simple. Now for the specific use case, here is a single custom alert policy with 3 distinct alert rules, each tailored with unique filtering criteria corresponding to the 3 security controls that's configured. The first alert rule triggers security alert if there is an occurrence of realm violation. The second alert rule triggers a security alert if realm authorized application account credentials have potentially been misused to attempt logging into the database directly. The third alert rule triggers a security alert if there is any data pump export activity on the application schema. Now that the custom alert policy is created, associate the alert policy to the database target and observe the alerts getting triggered as appropriate workloads are executed. To trigger the database vault realm violation, log in as powerful sys user and try to access the realm protected schema object. The realm violation is triggered and audited. Here is the audited database vault realm violation as is seen in the database vault activity report. The second workload is logging into the database server directly using application service account credentials, which throws the database vault command rule violation. The failed login event is captured in the login activity report and the error code indicates the corresponding command rule violation. The third workload is the Oracle data pump export operation by data pump user. The data pump export operation is captured in the data extraction activity report. Now for each of these workloads that you triggered, the audit events are fired. The conditions in the alert policy rules have been tailored to fire alerts on collection of these audit events whose attribute matches the criteria. The custom alert policy page shows an indication on number of alerts fired corresponding to every rule that is configured in the chart and in the region below, giving you valuable insight into the patterns. So to summarize, we have explored the potential of custom alert policies to build a flexible approach to monitoring specific database activities of interest. And we demonstrated its potential using the most common use case of building protection for application schema.